Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hey, let's see what's going on. Part two of anarchism. I just want y'all to read something. I just got off the panel with Captain doing our thing. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what we got here. Let's make sure some things keeping account. Yeah. I'm not gonna stay on it for too long, but just a little something. Let me share this some everywhere. Let's see. I'm gonna share this to and then I'm gonna, okay, let me set this up. Let me set this up. Oh, let me set this up. No, it's not entertainment. Let's select the file. Let's run my content. Save y'all just about a minute. Yeah, we're set. We're set. We're set. Let me set up my little buttons. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this a part two, and there's a video right behind it. So things like that, because yesterday was an interesting stream. I gotta see the replay how I did on that was an unexpected stream Tuesday. Don't mind that stream. It's a good stream. If y'all want to watch it, keep watching it. But that stream was just a response of that shit over at Teapots. And shouts out to Brother X and everything else. But the thing about that stream is you get what you get, right? Because most people's distracted by the Nikki and what's going on, college and greetings, 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 and the Kevin thing. So I'm gonna focus on this topic right here. We're gonna start reading and doing things like that, right? And as I was gonna say, I'll put this in the villain hideout too, in case y'all want to come up, and because I'll comes right through. Here we go, and it's just what it is. So in so many words, I'm just like, yeah, you know what I mean? Because we can we can talk about it, and then we're just going right there. But shouts out to Captain, he's gonna have his thing. So let's get right to it. So I know it's 2 to 3 minutes in, so we're gonna go and do this. Across the Chrome. Let's look at that. Let's get some info. All right, all right, all right. Relevance of anarchism of modern society. Turn this up real nice and loud. About like that. In so many words. Let me see if y'all can see that on the screen. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. I'll read that off. I'll read that off for a minute. Okay. Relevance of anarchism. Okay. I'm gonna go like that. I'll read this. Meaningful discussions about the relevance of anarchism of modern industrialized societies. I'll highlight this. And most in front for the safe a sale of clarity and outline differences between today's neo-anarchism and the classical anarchism of the Proudhon, Croton, and Malastate, I would say Malatestia or something like that, Malatestia, and their successors, with a rare exception. Let me just right quick because this is like close to me, but I gotta get close to this. Oh, small on my end. And their successors, with rare exceptions. One is stuck by the mediocre, superficial character of ideas and advanced by modern writers on anarchism. Instead of presenting the fresh insights, there is the reception of utopistic ideas, which the anarchist movement had long since the outgrown, rejected as a total irrelevant to the problems of our increasingly complex society. Many ideas, which is noted anarchist writer Luigi Fabri a half century ago labeled Borgios' influence in anarchism, are again in circulation. For example, there Kingsley Weidmeyer's article, Anarchism Revived, right, left, and all around, like similar Borgios movements in the past. Weidmeyer correctly points out anarchism contemporary revival mostly come from the dissident middle class intellectuals, students, and other marginal groups who base themselves on individualist, utopian, and non working aspects. Other typical Borgios anarchist characteristics are escapism, with the hope that the establishment will be gradually undermined and enough the people to co opt out of the system and live like anarchists and consumes and other lifestyle institutions. He said anarchism, romantic glorification of conspiracy, ruthlessness, and violence, and the a moral tradition of Nakiviev Bolshevism, total irresponsibly, exclusively preoccupation with one's presquit lifestyle, exhibition, rejection of any form of organization or self discipline, antisocial individualism, the urge to idealize the most antisocial forms of individual rebellion. According to the Fabri Maladesti views and the intertolerance of oppression that a desire to the free develop one personal to its full, I'll say full limits is not enough to make make one anarchist. But that is aspiration towards the unlimited freedom. It is not tempt by the love or for mankind, by desire that all should enjoy equal freedom, may well create rebels who soon become exploiters, and tyrants. Still, other neo anarchists are obsessed with the action for sake of the action. One of the foremost historians of an Italian anarchist, Pier Caro Mazzini, notes that for them, the spontaneously is the pancreas that will automatically solve all problems. But no theoretical or practical preparation is needed in the revolution that is just around the corner, though the fundamental differences between uh, libertarians and our moral enemies, authoritarian groups like a Marxist and Leninist, will miraculously vanish. The Mazzini's observes. Paradoxically enough, the really modern anarchists, those with white hair, those who've guided the teachings of I want to say, of the Bakrin Maladesti, Maladestia, who in Italy and Spain, as well as Russia, had learned from bitter personal participation how serious the matter a revolution can be. It is not our intention to belittle to many fine things that the scholars do say, nor do they downgrade magnificent struggles of our young rebels against was racism and the false values of the vast crime, the establishment struggles which sparkled that revival of the long dominant radical movement. But they stress the negative aspects and ignore or misinterpret for constructive principles of anarchism. Bakhrin and classical anarchists always emphasize necessity by constructive thinking and action. The 1848 revolutionary movement was the the instincts and negative theoretical ideas which gave it a full justification for the fight against the privilege, but it is a lacked it completely in positive practical ideas and which would have been needed to enable to erect a view system upon the ruins of the old Borgia setup. Lacking such solid foundation, such movements must eventually disintegrate it. So right here, we're talking about the Borgias neo-anarchism, and we're going to go to distorting anarchism ideas. So again, we're here as we always hear, and then we have the information and things like that. And I know most people don't really care and things like that nature. So as we could tell, it's coming. You know what I mean? But like I said, this is an interesting topic I want to discuss, but that's one of the few. That's the main reasons that we are in depth with it. So this is a part two to it. So we get so refined with it, and just it's just what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just what it is. So, like I said before, we understand what anarchism is. So we're gonna get into the part. Okay, okay, it's halfway charged. Good, 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 good. We're gonna read this part right here, but we got some more links. We got some more links. We're just looking at the links that we acquired of anarchism and things like that. So we got the contemporary. Um, got this right here. Got the we got more articles on the way, so we got links. So bear with me here because this is going to be a decent stream. So we're going to bring info out like we always do with these topics. And then we got the contemporary. Okay. So basically, we're going to have these discussions right here, but this one's going to be interesting. So I'm going to pitch it out to someone today. It's going to be like it was yesterday. I mean, if you want to ask to come up and join us, good. Only allow one person because I ain't got that much time. I'm not trying to do no marathons and everything. So just enjoy the stream. But tomorrow, I will let it know. Um, I'm take my time with this one. So, everybody's is welcome and things like that. So yeah. And it is what it is. So let's read the distorting anarchist ideas. Some of the works on anarchism, like George Woodcock's Anarchism, of the two books of the Horwitz and Joly, both titled Anarchism, perpetuates the myth of the ancient. Let me read that again. Perpetuated the myth that the anarchists are living antiques, visionaries yearning to return to the idyllic past. According to Woodward, the historical anarchist movement that sprung from the Bakunin and his followers is dead, but the cardinal principles of the classical anarchism, economic and political decentralization of power, individual and local autonomy, anatomy, self-management of industry, workers' control, but in federalism are obsolete forms of organization running counter to the worldwide trend towards political and economic centralization. But the real social revolution of the modern age is, in fact, a process of centralization towards which early development of scientific, technological, and progress has contributed. The anarchist movement failed to present an alternative to the state or the capitalist economy. It is hard to understand how scholars, even slightly acquainted with the vast libertarian literature on social reconstruction, come to such absurd conclusions. Notable exception in the French sociologist historian Daniel Gurian, whose excellent little book, The Anarchisme, has been translated into English with an introduction by Noam Chomsky and published in the Monthly Review Press. Gurin uh, concentrates, yeah, concentrates on the constructive of aspects of anarchism while not without the faults. He underestimates the importance of the Kropotkin's ideas and exaggerates the Stirner's. It is still the best short introduction to the subject of Guerin's effectively refutes the arguments and recent historians, particularly Jean Maltron, Woodcock, and Jolly, concluding that. Here's a little parentheses. In the image of anarchism is not the constructive anarchism, which is Fahn's most accomplished expression. In the writings of the Buchian, relies on the organization of self-discipline or integration, on centralization, which is not cohesive, but a federalist, it relates to a large scale of industry, to the modern technology, to the modern potential and the genuine internationalism, into the modern world and the material, intellectual and moral interests have created between all parts of the nation and even different nations in a real solid unity. This unity will survive all states. But the assets to extend which is a classical anarchism applicable to the modern society, it is the first necessary to summarize briefly is leading constructive tenets. That's called the distorting anarchist ideas. So basically, they give us context right here, and then we got the complex societies. I'm gonna leave this up. We'll reference back to it, and we're just gonna see what we see. But y'all just bear with me real quick. So, like I said before, and I'll say it again, this is nothing wrong in its full form. So, I'm just gonna take my time. I'm just gonna be patient, and it's just what it is. So we're gonna get to this next part, and it's gonna leave it there, and I'll drop. It's a long read, complex societies, and it's a long read, so it's very very instrumental, and yeah, new societies and shells. So they got the Jacobins, the Bolshevik Revolution, the Workers' Control. This is like the meat of it, and automation and all that. It's a good piece. So, distorting ideas. So, the complex societies necessary to anarchism and its fallacy. Okay. We're going to go in for a minute. But yeah, this is one of the things we talk about. So, yeah, I know this is a long read too. They said stop blaming anarchism, and we're just going to go in depth. So, if y'all case know what I'm reading, I might have to leave this up. I might give y'all the link early because I might not read all of it, because I might do a topic on this in the future, but I don't know. Just don't quote me. I may not do it. This is probably my last time doing this, a part 2. I don't do part 3s on these unless it's necessary. So I'm just going to give y'all the link right now, because that way y'all can read it and understand. So it is what it is. So yeah, I might read the whole thing. Hold on. Let's see if I got time. Okay. Y'all bear with me for a minute, because this is a long ass read, and I got time because I got to kill some clock. So I got plenty of time to read that and give you the meat of it, because I want to just make this content like to an hour, and might have to pitch somebody discuss it with. Y'all gonna see it. Just give me a second. But if he's not available, I can drop it in the chat. So I'm just gonna cut this short then. So you know what I'm saying, because I ain't got much longer to add. Okay, we're going to go here right quick. Okay, it's fallacies to assume the anarchists ignore the complexity of the social life. On the contrary, the classical anarchists always rejected the kind of simplicity which camouflages the regimen in favor of the natural complexity, which reflects the many facet richness and diversity of social and individual life. The cybernetic mathematician John B. McEwen, writing The Relevance of Anarchism to the Cyberonomics. I'll take this right here. I'll say this. Cybernetics explains libertarian socialist pseudonym for non-individualist anarchists, especially Kropotkin and Landor. Landor. Landor showed an early grasp of the complex network of changing relationships involving many structures of correlated activity, mutual aid, and independent authoritarian cohesion it was against in the background, but that they developed their theories of social organization. One of Proudhon's greatest contributors to anarchist theory and socialism in general was the idea of the very complexity of social life demands the decentralization of anatomy of communities. Proudhon maintained that through the complexity of interests, through the progress of ideas, society is forced to abjure to the state beneath in the apparatus of the government under the shadow of its political institution. Society was slowly and silently producing its organizations, making for itself a new order, which expresses its vitality anatomy like its predecessors. Proudhon and Kropotkin elaborate the idea that very complexity of social life demanded in the decentralization and self-management of industry by the workers. From his studies of economic in life in England and Scotland, he concluded production exchange represents an undertaking so complicated that no government, without establishing a cumbersome, inefficient, bureaucratic dictatorship, will be able to organize production and its workers themselves through their unions. Do not do it each other branching of industry. For in all production, there arises daily thousands of difficulties that no government can hope to foresee. Only the efforts of thousands of intelligence working on problems can cooperate in development of the new social system and to find solutions for thousands of local needs. Decentralization and anatomy does not mean to break up the society into small, isolated, economically self-sufficient groups, which is neither possible nor desirable. But the Spanish anarchist Diego Arabad de Santillan, Ministry of the Economy into Catalonia in the early period of the Spanish Civil War, December 1936, reminded some of his comrades. Once and for all, we must realize that we are no longer in a little utopian world. We cannot realize our economic revolution is in local sense for economic on localists, and basis can only cause this collective privatization, privatization, and the economy is today a vast organism, and all isolation must prove detrimental. We must work with social creation, considering the interests of the whole country, and if it is possible, the whole world. Okay. A balance must be achieved between the suffocating tyranny of unbridled and authority and the kind of anatomy that leads to petty local patriotism, separation of little grouplets, and fragmentation of society. Libertarian organized must reflect the complexity of social relationships, promote solidarity on the widest possible scale. It can be defined as a federalism, coordination through free agreement, local, regionally, nationally, and internationally, and it consists of the vast coordinated network of voluntary alliance embracing the total of social, which all the groups organized, and principles are not separate entities. Anatomy is impossible without decentralization, and decentralization, it is impossible without diversity above all their overriding concern for freedom. Human values that led anarchist thinkers to base their ideas on the principles of the seeds of its own regeneration. Martin Buber. And a self-governing living, I mean, a self-governing associations with the will be flexible enough to adjust their differences, correct and learn from their mistakes, and experiment with the new creation forms of social living, and thereby achieve genuine harmony and higher humanistic plan. Errors that the state and other autocratically centralized organizations affecting the whole nations, even the whole world, can have the most disastrous consequences. Society without order, as the word society implies, is inconceivable. But the organization of order is not inclusive monopoly of the state. For all state authority is that the sole guarantee of order. Who will watch the watchman? Federalism is also the form of order, which is perceived the establishment of the state, but it is order which guarantees the freedom and independence of the individuals and associations who freely, spontaneously constitute the federations. Federalism is not like the stage born of the will to the power, but it's a recognition of the in, introductible, intellectual, inter, interdependence of mankind. But federalism and springs from to will to harmony with solidarity. Okay, so that was complex societies necessitate anarchism. Okay, so we're going to modern, just about better organized, anarcho anarcholistic anarchistically anarchistically, that's what it's called. So that's what they have up here. So we're gonna read this piece and we're gonna see what we on time. So yeah, what's going on, Jay Sean? Salute, 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 salute. Yeah, this is a long read and things like that. So as you can tell, this is one of the things that we hear. This is part two, and then we're expound on things, but the relevance of anarchism and showing its relevancy and things like that nature. So yeah, it's one of the things that I see that's going on in the world. So yeah, man, it is what it is. And it is what it is. Let's see what's going on here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted. But we're gonna go into the modern industry better organized anarchist artistically. Yeah. Ooh, it's a mouthful. And artistically. Borgios, economists, sociologists, administrators like Peter Durker and Gunnar and Mydurl, Mid, yeah, Mirdale and John Kenneth Galbraith and Daniel Bale, etc., etc., now favor a large measure of decentralization, but not because they suddenly became anarchists, but primarily because the technology has rendered the anarchists in forms of organization, operational necessities. But the Borgios reformers have yet to learn, long as these organ, yeah, organizational forms and are tied to the state or capitalism, which connotes the monopoly of the political and economic power. Decentralization will remain a fraud, but a more efficient device to enlist the cooperation of the masses in their own enslavement. To illustrate how their ideas inadvertently inadvertently demonstrates the practical of the anarchist organizations of how they contradict themselves. We cite the free enterprise Durkers and the welfare status Midrodal, Midrodal, and the capital title of the sickness of the government. Durker writes, here's what he writes. The the decrement of government cuts across the nation boundaries and ideological lines. The government itself have become one of the most vested interests and the most government undertakes anything, and it becomes entrenched, and the permanent and unproductive becomes the built-in political process itself. The moon's process and social theory to be meaningful at all must starts with their reality of pluralism and institutions and galaxies of sun and suns, and rather one big central surrounding. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say it like that. Surrounded. Hold on. I missed my place. Surrounded by moons and shines by the reflected light and society, institutional diversity, and the fusion of power. In a pluralist society, organization, each unit would be limited in specific service and renders to remember, I mean, renders to the member of society, which is the mean to perform. Yet, since every institution has power in its own sphere, it would be such as an effective with the public interest. Such a view organizations as being autonomous and limited, necessary both to make the organizations perform to safeguard the individual's freedom. After demonstrating the monstrosity of government, its lack of performance, and its impotence, Durker finally contradicts himself and comes to surprising conclusion that never has strong, effective government been needed more in the dangerous wood, never more than in its pluralist society of organizations. Maidal convincingly, Maidal convincingly demonstrates that both of the Soviet and the free world states need decentralization for administration efficiency in order that the political and economic life shall not succumb to the rigidity of the central apparatus, but that he would expect the paternalistic welfare state to loosen as controls over everyday life and gradually transfer most of its power to all sorts of organization. Communities controlled by the people themselves. No anarchist could refute Midrodal's argument better than he does himself. To give up autocratic patterns, to give up administrative controls, withdraw willingly from intervening when it's no longer necessary, and are steps which do not correspond to the inner workings due a functional bureaucracy. If there's advocate of decentralization and anatomy, autonomy were consistent, they would realize that the diffusion of power leads to anarchism. So right here, it just shows you right there. We just read, and it's called the modern industry better organized anarchistically. That's what we're talking about. But then there's new society with the shell of the old. This is a long read. It talks about the Jacobins and then the workers' control after the revolution and things like that. So I'm not going to go in depth on this. It's a long, long read. Y'all can read the rest for yourselves, and y'all get the point. This is good information. So I'm going to stop the screen share and drop this. And here's what we're going to do here. So in so many words, I just want to put this out here. Let me share this. Let me share this real quick. This is the most the meat of it. It's a long read because I know people don't come here for that. So I'm gonna set this out here. Yeah, YouTube's on here like that. So I want y'all to see this picture. You get the idea what I'm talking about. And it says, "Stop blaming the anarchists." Washington Post. Everything bad on anarchists. Okay, there are there at the protest being because anarchist means dreaming of a kinder or more equitable society. Yeah, see, they kind of promote this right here. So this is by Kelly Kelly and show the picture. I mean, Kim Kelly, I mean, the woman. A protest continue to sweep the nation of narrative has emerged blaming alleged anarchists for stirring the pot. There are, the story goes, materializing out of nowhere to sow chaos. But the marginalized people at risk generally make more peaceful protests look bad. On June 1st, President Trump retweeted a video implying that the man who later explained that he was helping other protesters um, buy medical supplies was instead paying them to incite violence. In his tweet, Trump added, "The anarchists, we see you." After surveying damage to the city's property, Dallas County Commissioner John Wiley Price declared it's not protest, it's anarchy. But the next day, Post opinions and contributor of Helene Oline wrote that Trump is the real anarchist. Here, her only basis for making this claim appeared to be common use of anarchy as a flawed pseudonym for chaos. See, there's an argument in this article. Okay, let's read it. This reflectively is associated anarchist ism, which thoughtless discord betrays a profound ignorance of the leftist ideology. The problem is that there's no one seeming to uh, understand what anarchist is or what it is inherent or seeking to accomplish, and the lack of understanding is going to end up in endangering a lot of people. We're rapidly appearing a point in which the dissident in further criminalizing the justified rage and plain feeling that these protests and further uh, de- uh, delegitimize and anyone who engages any form of protesting outside of pre-approved liberal template becomes of a target for surveillance, or worse. On June 3rd, with the zero evidence backing its claim to the White House, Twitter and Trump, Antifa and professional anarchists are invading our communities, staging bricks, weapons to instigate violence. These are acts of domestic terror. At the least, one of the supposed weapons um, caches appears to have been a part of the security barricade in front of a Jewish community center. This is what they claim. Antifa's the problem. Here we go. I remember this. That was 2 years ago. Are the anarchists out there in the streets standing solidarity with Black Lives Matter, BLM, my ad, against the brutality of the police? Absolutely. It is every single one of them conducting themselves in a manner that all world considered peaceful. Perhaps not, but there's no nefarious anarchist plot to intentionally place black protesters or other vulnerable people in harm's way. In fact, to do so with the anima to anarchism itself for the black anarchists and anarchists of color who have been erased by the narrative have been cleared about their own views on the situation. As William C. Anderson, co-author of the Black as a Resistance, finding the the conditions of for liberation, noted on Twitter, but focus anger and frustrated on the people empowered doing the killing. And the oppressing don't believe all the nonsense about anarchists, especially if you don't even know what anarchism actually is. Yeah, we just talked about it in that little short you know, that little information that y'all got. So, what is anarchism? As explained before, it is a radical revolutionary leftist political ideology, but that advocates for the abolition of government and all other unequal systems of power in favor of society organized around direct democracy or voluntary association. Though it encompasses many schools of thought, most anarchists are committed to a basic set of beliefs. Key anarchist principles including mutual aid, reciprocal approach to community care in which people share resources, but direct action that are political protests to achieve a goal. Horizontalism and non-hierarchical organized system in which decisions are made by conscious decisions made by the consensus, but the anarchist advocates for abolition of institutions such as prisons, police, and the military, which they hold inherently oppressive. Anarchists are, by definition, anti-capitalist, anti-racist, directly opposed to all other forms of bigotry and oppression. They are anti-fascists, though not all anti-fascists are anarchists. Interesting. Which opens up another portal, another potential avenue for repression. And now the president has fixated on anti-fascists or Antifa, and law enforcement has continued to surveil and target leftist activists. In practice, to be an anarchist is to dream of a kinder, and more equitable society. Do one's best to get over to the closer making of a dream a reality. For every minute of a protest footage showing you anarchists on in the streets, and there are untold hours spent attending endless meetings. Anarchists love meetups. Yeah, they love meetups and cooking, delivering food and supplies to those who need it. Researching far right groups, planning demonstrations, providing childcare and other support to comrades, taking part of the community, mind projects. It may sound hokey, but anarchism is about a love as much as is rage. There is a certain utopian romance to it. Anarchism is also well suited to dealing with the disasters like the the coronavirus pandemic. C virus pandemic, and offers a path forward for those fed up with the government malfeasance and liberal and incation of cruel uh let's just say machinations of a reality slope of the king, as we are supposed to deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and Superstorm Sandy is autonomous and zones like the Chicopes and Roosevelt and other similar contexts and beautiful, necessary life sustaining and worlds get sprung up around the voluntary work, but those striving to improve things together, and we already it counts in the mutual aid and projects that sprung to help and people the cope with the C virus and the idea itself, which dates the 20th century anarchist philosophy. Peter Kropotkin has gone mainstream, has given how value such efforts can be reckless and misrepresenting the anarchists who pursue it is dangerous for everyone, since their strategies are exactly what we need to get through this crisis. Anarchists as such is about violence and chaos, arbitrary disruption. But yes, anarchists have sometimes used violent tactics. President William McKinley was assassinated by anarchist Leon Frank Kalazogs or something like that. Zizologs on September 6, 1901. And the Motox of the cocktail have been become a familiar sight during the uprisings in Europe, South America, and however, violence isn't the point. Anarchism has but one infallible, uh, unchangeable model: freedom. Anarchist writer and industrial workers and Wood of the world, co-founder of Lacey, would have burned into slavery and once wrote, freedom to discover any truths and freedom develop in life naturally and fully. Okay. Despite all of the anarchists are still given a short shrift of misconceptions and rumors and propaganda outlies and about anarchism and anarchists themselves abound. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican Republican of Arkansas, has been calling for military forces to target them specifically and the protests in general. But most recently, in a wide criticized New York Times, Times opted CNN senior media correspondent Brian Shelter to refer into the property destruction in Manhattan as anarchy on the streets, while real anarchy on the streets most often looks like food not food not bombs, tables, or jail supported group. Trump has repeatedly referred to the professional anarchists as concept so absurd that it is long been long been mean within its radical community. And whatever you say have heard, and neither Democrats nor the billionaire George Soros are funding any anarchist groups. No anarchist would ever identify as a Democrat any more than one would ever accept cash from capitalist plutocrat like Soros. He's a plutart, by the way. Anarchist groups are autonomous and self-funded as predominantly poor and working class um, community aren't exactly known for having deep pockets. All of this obstruction of falsification or something like that. Yeah. Falsificate misinformation is a shame because anarchism has many lessons to offer, caring for our communities and all of those in need. But the concepts that make up its come have become increasingly popular. Even anarchism itself have been dismissed as mere thirst of destruction, as long running anarchist collective of crime thin world with their anthology, and except for the resistance of the field manual, and no one is more qualified than you are to decide how you live. No one should be able to vote or what you do with your time, with your potential, unless you invite them to. As others surveyed by the smoldering ruins of the American dream and to beg politicians to take mercy or the most vulnerable, and it's worth remaining in a people life that does not have to be this way. But the government has shown that it would save us. We know that the rich won't save us. But if we embrace the true sight of anarchy, and maybe just maybe we can save ourselves. Yeah, this is basically just an article. It's old Trump. So I'm gonna put this out here about anarchism and things like that. So we're gonna put this in the chat so y'all can read it, what I'm talking about. And this is just a discussion and just build on it. What's going on? Greetings, Shar. Greetings, 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 greetings. We're gonna do this real quick. And we're gonna just do this right quick. So as what I was saying in so many words, I want to type in something or put this in the link. So yeah, on a contemporary, and that's just how it is. So we're gonna get to this part. It's not much, so we're gonna talk about it. So let's see what we look on time. What's going on, G? Salute, salute, bro, salute. Oh hell, Great Skull. And it is what it is. So we just gonna be here for a while. So y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I mean, not a second. Give me about a minute, and I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I eat something for a minute. Oh shit, me. That's a bit. Girl done got popular. Oh, that's just out. Abstract, contemporary anarchists and anarchist movements. Highlight this comment right here. Mm, the fuck? I mean to eat from this mic. Oh, excuse me. Although, I'm gonna read the abstract. Although the period of highest activity anarchist movements peaked in the early 1990s, such as movements, countries resist contemporary anti-authoritarian movements. In the product of 1950s, the New Left, as well as the USSR's demise, anti-authoritarian movements are the either explicit anarchists or implicity of anarchists that's simply anti-anarchist autonomous, yeah, autonomous and libertarian socialists. Anarchist identity is too diverse and although anchored around opposition to the dominant culture and institutions and hierarchical norms. But the values and goals pursue revolve around a principle adoption of horizontalism and direct action in anti-authoritarianism and decentralization and anti-capitalism and mutual aid. But these anarchist movements are unique movements, yet they are also run parallel to certain movements in both adoption of anarchist strategies and membership overlap. But such as anarchist and global justice and squatter movements, squatter movements, and the controversial and playful streets and tactics combined with the strategies and reclamation of the radical egalitarian spaces in opposition to hierarchical society, despite there are association with violence and contemporary anarchist movements are fairly nonviolent, but however, many anarchists do not um, disavow the selective use of violence. Thus, the massive efforts of the social control through the police and mass media attempts to moderate and disrupt the suppress the anarchist movements. That's basically what this is. I'm gonna put this out here. That's all I got for y'all on anarchism. This is part two. Just like I said, and we discussed the part right here, and it's like 56, 57 minutes. And we're gonna do this right quick. And I ain't got that much to add either. So what I'm gonna do is going to put this here real quick. I'm gonna play a clip. And I'm gonna stop it. It is what it is, and I know people are going through and things like that. So yeah, this is me coming. I'm still streaming and everything. I'm not stopping until we get some context here, and we're gonna talk about some things. So we're gonna look at uploads and things like that. So we're gonna do it right. So let's look at my videos. Okay, I'm in the thing, and let's see what my playlist is like. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure I'm right. Political world systems view. I talk about that. Okay. Just checking. Just checking. Because I talked about these in both parts. So yeah, I'm here and I'm just yeah. Y'all don't pay me no mind. Okay. It's a lot of bullshit lately. Yeah, this was 2 hours. I did this 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to screen share. I'm going to stop screen share. I'm going to stop this right quick, remove it, and I'm just going to go stop screen share. And then I'm just going to go share it again. I want y'all to see something. I'm going to play the anarchist video from part one, get the context what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, because I brought up a lot of information and we said about the countries and things like that. So don't pay me no mind. Uh, I was getting into the conversation and I'm just gonna let this play. And I showed you this. I showed you this shit, and we're just gonna get through. I'm gonna skim through a lot. I'm getting the questions in a minute. So again, like I said before, and I'll say it again. So I'm just gonna play something and shit. I don't mean to hit it right quick, but mm, shit. Okay, y'all give me 1 second. Y'all give me 1 second. Uh, 'Cause I know people are not coming through tonight because they like the bullshit right now. Talking about the Kevin Samuels, they bring that shit tomorrow. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm just gonna go in depth. It is what it is. I mean, it's done by design, and I'm not part of no manosphere shit. I mean, shouts out to Advisor for covering that. I'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow, and then I'll talk about something else. Because Thursday, I know what I'm gonna talk about. They both kind of folded, but he didn't point that out. But that was done by design. His shit goes up, but you got a lot of fanboys like the Net Ride, who this guy is. So anything. All right, I'm gonna go on mute and I'm gonna play this. Yeah. Yep. It is. What's going on, Pastor? Salute. But like I said, man, yeah, if your nephew's dealing with that and he's at the age 8, he's already on a path where he wants to choose. But when he gets older, it's a different type of ball game. Different type of ball game. Because anarchists ain't going away. They're not going away. They're not going away. I try to tell Art and all them guys, look, I'm not saving this younger generation. They already know what they need to do. It's the correction of society. There you go. Anarchism. There you go.
And greetings.
Greetings.
Hoorah in Europe and all hail Grayskull.
Indeed.
Indeed. Talking about one of my favorite topics, political philosophies. What is going on? Anarchy.
Yes. Speak on it.
So what has been discussed so far? Because I'm just now.
You know that Black Rose, you know, that Negra, that information you gave me last year on that November. I was reading that too, and I was reading the world populations, and I saw a lot of countries got a lot of anarchism, right? All the maps is blue, right? And the one with the least, I'll say in the hundreds, is Vatican City. You know what I mean? And I mentioned the guy from Greece and that guy from 19th century, you know, the Pierre guy. You know, I mentioned him too and the philosophy and things like that. And I was trying to break down, give them an idea what anarchism is. And then I showed y'all the teenagers, you know, the younger generation, they're picking up on it. And I was trying to tell Art, I'm not saving that generation, Z's or whoever. They know what to do. They act like they want to take this thing, but this is widespread. This ain't America. This is widespread. I'm like, shit. I didn't think it was that bad. I remember it was us, but I said, no, this thing's widespread. I didn't think it was that deep. Because the last time I remember was Occupy Wall Street. I don't know if you're gonna see it this year or down the line in 2024. I was trying to tell them, look, this is it. You know, that's your reset. That's your correction right there. Ain't those parties, it's that.
Well, the thing that people often miss about like ideas such as anarchy is you have to understand the times that am I coming in all right?
Yeah, you are.
We have to understand the times that we're really living in, right? As people go about their daily passings, assuming that everything is just grand, everything's just going swimmingly, not understanding what the actual condition of society is, right? And you have far right hacks, right, that chalk this up to some kind of a cultural war, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really, we should pay attention to what they're saying, because they're really telling you, when they say culture, what culture is the operative term they substitute for race.
Yeah.
Okay. When they say culture, culture and race, culture, race, and ethnicity, along with class, are all interchangeable elements of the discussion. That's how they get the fool in a lot of those so-called Negro conservatives or so-called Negro Republicans that think that they're conservative, but they're really neoliberals and minstrel blackface, right?
Right.
But what they fail to understand is that when we're looking at society, what we're really looking at is the age of decline, right? The age of decadence. Anarchy is always the tool employed during a time of decay and decline. Because and here's the other little trick bag that they put most people in, because you have far right motherfuckers sitting there making you think that the anarchy is exclusively leftist.
Facts.
Isn't that the trick? See, the problem with anarchy is that there is no political philosophy, there is no right or left. Neither side has a monopoly on anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Or what say we, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
take the American Revolution. Revolution is anarchy,
Yeah.
because anarchy is the tool employed to reset something, right? To turn something over, to reverse something, to spin something around. Let's examine the history real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking about this with the esteemed member of our tribe. Let's look at the Civil War.
Okay.
Both the North and the South could be considered anarchist. Damn, that shit sounds like conspiratorial. But think about it. The South, right? The Southerners who held a monopoly on industry, mind you, agricultural industry, wealthier than the Northerners, wanted to maintain the peculiar institution of slavery, right? You have the Northerners who wanted to move in a more industrial direction to be able to compete with London, Britain, right? Prussia, the Empire of Prussia. If you look at the Southerners' succession from an already established union in order to maintain something that is unsustainable to be able to compete with your European counterparts, is an act of anarchy. However,
Right. Mm-hmm.
you look at the Northerners, and this is where the debate, in the halls of academia you always get a little foggy, especially on the right side. You say, well, those pesky Northerners writing out a document, something called the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing said slaves, which is interesting because I don't know how you can free something that was never in your possession,
Right.
right? Is an act of anarchy against the South that wants to make, because remember, the South are the conservatives. The Southern Democrats are the conservative party. The Northerners are the liberals. And so there's always been this back and forth between conservatives and liberals where each one's pointing the finger back and forth saying, you're an anarchist. You'll see now they use more abstract terms like, oh, you're leftist, Marxist, socialist, communist.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, all of these goofy terms that really don't add up to a hill of beans politically because no side has a monopoly on anarchy. Now, let's fast forward. World War I was supposed to be the war that end all wars. And then bam, end up having another war in Europe.
Yep.
Well, aptly named World War II. Well, shit, Pardue. That wasn't good enough. Had to go to Korea. Korea is the first war in a long line of wars thereafter to not end with an actual peace agreement. And there has not been a war since the Korean War that has ended with a peace agreement.
And that is factual. Yeah.
But also, the Korean War is also the first war to be an actual war without an actual declaration of war. And it was World War II, which was the last war to actually have a war that was declared a war. Now, to go into war without an actual declaration is also an act of anarchy. Oh, shit. Like first world society employing anarchy to prop up domestic industry. How about that for a headline? Isn't that something?
It is. It's very something. He said the crazy part that my early introduction of it came through MTV, but even the anime cartoons were full of it. Yeah. Some people got it from advertisement, corporations. I got it from books. My first introduction and read about it, and until
anarchy.
Well, in books, certain books and scholars and things like that, like you said, the back and forth. But it took me time. But once I got out of that and did some proper research, it's a grassroots. If you really study the Civil War, like you said, and things like that, it took me a while, and it's very vast. It's not just one thing. You have no monopoly. Yeah, you have fringe groups, hack groups, but they're all doing the same old style,
right? Because we just talked about Vietnam, Korea. Oh, we didn't talk about Vietnam yet.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the boomers, right?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Let's get something specific about the boomers. The boomers give birth to the Gen X generation. Gen X is known as the slacker generation. Well, where did they learn to slack off? Generation X is aptly named X because Generation X was the first generation en masse that was mostly anti-establishment, anti-war, anti-everything. As a matter of fact, one of the funniest things that I continue to hear every single time I hear one of these dumb Negroes who claim to be pro-black, but really aren't. I hear them say things so nonsensically dumb, such as the white man's military.
Yeah.
Put this shit in perspective. You ever found it funny? You've always heard the white man's military, but you have never heard them refer to that jail as the white man's.
Mm.
Isn't it funny that you've heard the white man's military, that specific phrase, and you've never heard the white man's school, the white man's road, the white man's car, or the white man's money?
No, you don't hear that.
Funny. Say a nigga owed you $10. You're gonna aptly say, nigga, where the fuck my motherfucking money at? But see, when niggas they say shit like, oh, the white man's military, right?
Mhm.
You never hear them say, well, where's that white man's money at?
Uh-oh.
Because see,
All right.
I would, be an anarchist and be like, I don't owe you anything. That money is the white man's. That comes from the slacker,
Yep.
anarchist generation. The boomers are the ones who gave him the idea. Think about it. The boomers are born just after World War II or towards the end of World War II.
That's facts. Yeah.
So let's put this in perspective. America enters Vietnam, 1967, 1968?
Yeah.
So if America enters the war in 1967, 1968, who was doing all of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll? These are the young boomers at the time.
Ah, facts. Mm-hmm.
These are the young boomers, old enough to smoke, drink, fuck, get all these people pregnant and abandon them with like reckless disregard. And during the time that they were doing all of that fucking, sucking, smoking, snorting, America needed bodies to fight the war on the Vietnamese front. And that's where the Gen X generation gets its name. Even though that name aptly belongs to the boomers.
It should be.
The slacker generation.
Yeah. And then I heard Generation One time they call them the unknown, which is true because I hate to say that generation is completely forgotten. But boomers did that on purpose. They did that on purpose.
They are the ones that spawned the flower power and the anarchists.
Yep.
Revolution.
Yep.
Anarchist cookbook came out when? In 1971.
Mm. Yep. My dad was in college at that time too.
Woodstock
in high school.
Came
My
out
high
with
school.
1966. Those were all boomers at Woodstock.
Yeah. Yeah. So my dad was born in 53. Yeah, that's about right. That's generation. Yeah. Older boomers to the younger boomers, because my mom was born in 61? That's about right. He was a child in the 60s. He was a teen.
So
Yeah.
we give the name of the slacker generation to the Xers, but it actually belongs to the boomers. The boomers fight the wars, right? Fight Vietnam. They come back, they realize the price of blood, the price of life, how cheap life is. And they all become Nixonites, supporters of President Nixon. And his what? War on drugs.
Yep.
Which is why the war on drugs doesn't get escalated until a little California governor becomes president. His name is Ronald Reagan.
Yep.
Ronald Reagan was the inevitable consequence to the slacker /X/Gen X generation. That begins a period of recovery.
Yeah.
War causes a sharp decline. We're at the bottom of the decline whenever we leave war. And then begins the recovery, which is why laws change in order to make things that we learned over the course of said war, like economics, people need money, and now it's UBI, right? Because
Yeah.
now we're out of a war. Hundreds of thousands, refugees, veterans, coming back. Coming back to what? Gig economy.
Yeah.
So now economic policy has to change. Economic policy has to change. Anarchy, the tool employed. Bam. Occupy Wall Street happens when?
2011. Yeah, 2011. Mm-hmm.
When did they throw so-called Bin Laden off of the boat?
Oh, yeah, 2011. Same year. I remember. Yeah, I was like 23 at the time. Yeah.
2011 is also when Operation Enduring Freedom ends. We begin Operation New Dawn. Still in a war, the global war on terror.
Yeah, war on terror. It's been going on for like a while. 20 plus years. It's still going on. Yep.
And so now anarchy. If you notice, anarchy, people that come from the grassroots will always be labeled anarchists.
Oh,
see,
yeah.
People that have been benefiting from the reckless abandonment of the country's own citizens. They don't want things to change. You have corporations that have been getting bailed out. They love this. They love this government handout. They love the free lunch. And that bailout has come at the cost of lives, has come at the cost of families being broken apart. Oh, those same families we keep trying to attribute to, well, it all starts in the home. No, it all starts with economics.
Yeah. And then they try to use the Monahan report. I'm about to talk about tomorrow. Yep. There you go.
It all starts with economics.
Yep.
But that's my piece.
Yeah.
I get up out of here.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, if you look at it from a proper perspective, y'all, that's why I've been saying the whole time. I mean, I was looking at it and trying to save these kids. Well, they're already at the brink of it. Anything you see changes, and then they talk about Monahan report this and that. I said, damn, that's like decades ago. I mean, that didn't work.
Moynihan inspired fictions.
Yeah.
Moynihan inspired fictions. Moynihan inspired fictions. Moynihan was an adherent to the broken windows policy.
Oh, yeah. I was about to get into that. Yeah, I got that link.
Because, see, one thing that we forget about the Moynihan report is that the policies that come out of the response to the Moynihan report, all of them went unenforced.
Yeah.
Hell, you didn't even have anti-discrimination law really being enforced until you got the
Mhm.
Fair Housing Act, and even that wasn't enforced until Title IX, which was in 1974.
Mm.
Why'd you have to have a Title IX? Because they found that there was a direct link between what? Home life and education.
Yeah.
So Title IX had to be established in order for the Fair Housing Act to be aptly applied. How could you enforce, say, Title, say, Fair Housing Act or the Equal Rights Act, or the Equality and Employment Act, the EOC? You don't have a viable place to stay without being discriminated against based on your race.
Right.
And then where you go to school is based on where you live. So your quality of education is based directly on where you live, and redlining doesn't end until 1978. And even
Mm.
then, it didn't even end. All it did was transform into a new idea called urban renewal and rezoning. So
Yep.
Moynihan was doing nothing more than eating the dick of his contemporaries
Mm.
in order to justify his scantily, narrowly lined job, which really could hardly be considered a job. Because for a person that was supposed to advise on policy, he did a lot of, let's say, perpetrating and pondering philosophy.
I see.
This was a guy that, this is why I call him Moynihan inspired fictions, because this is a guy that was trying to apply theory.
Ah, I see. Hmm.
But mind you, the Oxford Handbook on the Economics of Poverty was written in the 1800s. So you understand what ended the war between the Irish and the Italians was one, World War II, and then post World War II, the admission into this institution called whiteness.
Hmm.
And then with that comes their monopolization of critical institutions that further discriminated, which is why the policies that were employed in response to Moynihan's report went literally unenforced because, let's see, Moynihan is a fucking dirty white, right? Irish
Hmm.
guy. Police force mostly Irish.
Yeah.
Irish get their chance to be white. Suddenly, here we are.
Yeah.
We don't want to enforce any of these policies. We don't want to let those niggers near us.
It's so
But
true.
guess what? Instead of enforcing the law, which is what they're hired to do, they become the very tool by which law is furloughed and circumnavigated, which actually in turn is an employment of anarchy.
Ah.
Racism is in turn, in essence, anarchy,
Hmm.
structured anarchy, systemically rooted anarchy. Think about it.
Yeah.
If if the reason why the country is going down is because people are able to participate in economics to the level by which the country would actually be saved by a greater participation in economics than lesser, then cutting out even 5% of your population is a detriment to the overall economy. But here you have cutting out of 12 to 15% of the participants of your economy.
Mm-hmm.
And that 12 to 15% ends up becoming the thing that seals America's economic coffin, which is why you're seeing what you're seeing in China right now. Was we're thinking that, oh, this is just China, and we let them into the the greater aether of American and allied technologies. No, 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 no. They've been able to catch up just by virtue of America trying to lock portions of its population out of the wealth generating streams of the greater American economy.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore that wealth was not allowed to grow. Who knows what kind of tech firms you would have got out of there and been hell of a lot further than we are now.
Yeah.
And so America literally sealed its own coffin, and anarchy always happens in the ages of decline. America's, people think that the empires, whenever they're built, that when you're living inside of the empire, have that insight. A person that has never been outside of this country, living abroad for a long period of time, and being able to really examine this country from a bird's eye view, would not be able to make the claims that they do. That's why you still have Negroes running around here thinking that capitalism and racism is right and just, and racism is a boogeyman. You got all this stupid shit in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
You got stupid fucks like Candace Owens and the Brandon Tater Tots, right? Running around here, right? Brandon Tatum tried to go off there and fucking shuck elbows, call that nigga 12 years a coon.
Mm.
And then the white
Not
boy,
12 years a slave, but 12 years a coon. Right.
white boy is out there fucking jacked off right in his fucking face, like fuck you and your fucking blended family, fucker. And then he comes crying back, oh man, they're racist over there. Like, no shit. Niggas been telling you that since I don't know how long. Old fucking Santa Fe cop. He was a fucking cop in Santa Fe. He got what, like 6 people in that bitch. But that's what I'm saying. These are people that don't really understand society the way that they need to understand society. And Brandon Tatum is one of them fucking cops that got into the boys club and thought, oh, it's not all that bad. He's one of the niggas. Look, he's one of the niggas that we would meet in the military that we'd always have to fucking give like a sock party to, bro. Fucking bring out to the quarter and have to jump his ass in like you will be not making any more statements without without informing us first for what you're gonna say. You're like, yo, get on with the crackers. They do what they do to you, and then you want the motherfucker to start crying about spoiled milk after the fact. Look at your boy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah, you gotta have a bird's eye view to understand the country, and then reading about it, and then when you listen to other countries talk about America, I'm not amazed. I'm just surprised that most Americans don't get it, but that's like I said, if you haven't lived or been abroad, man, they expose you, especially in the military. They always tell them secrets like, look, this is where the country's going. But the news people are not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that because they say, oh, it's only like, yep. Mhm. And it's kind of funny that they don't talk about anarchism in depth like that. They just look at it from, oh, it's a left, it's a right, and
Right, it's left, it's right,
yeah,
liberals. It's like
yeah,
no, nobody has a monopoly on anarchy. Like,
yeah.
well, because what say you of the motherfuckers that established the country?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, hold up. Are you saying that conservative colonists? But see, remember the conservatives were the Democrats.
Right. Yeah. They don't want to hear that. They say, what? Mm-hmm.
So we're telling me that the Democrats were actually the right side.
People
The far
forget.
right.
Yeah.
Democratism, Southern democratism, or what we call antebellum democratism, is actually pre-modern far right extremism.
That is so true. Yeah.
You see? So nobody has a monopoly on it. But I'm gonna get up out of here. Appreciate the time.
Not a problem.
And all hail Grayskull. Appreciate it. Peace and blessings.
All right. Peace. There you have it. Yeah, this is anarchism, and we got time, but it's like 10, what you call it, 10, 11. Yeah, like he made some solid points about there's no monopoly with anarchism left and right. So basically what he's saying in so many words, it's one of those ideologies that people get mixed up and they think there's a right and left issue, but it's really not. Anybody can be that in so many terms when this country was founded and things like that. So, I'm just gonna play a little bit right here while I'm talking. And yeah, it's just one of those things, man. And I'm gonna stop the screen share and just drop this and drop this off and things like that. They updated these things, the totalitarian and things like that. So I'm not surprised what they updated. But yeah, like in the countries, man. But yeah, the Vatican City is 700 and what 99, and the biggest I would say that has a problem is China. It's 1,448,471 people. And India is right behind it, 1,406,631,776 people. Now America, 334,854. I mean, no, my fault. What I say? Let me correct myself. 1,448,471 400. Yeah, I had to make a correction on China. Yeah, that's the number. Okay, I'm reading right here. 1,406,631,776 people that are anarchists underground. Now, America, they report 334,805 5,269. That's it. And then Indonesia's right behind us, Pakistan, Nigeria, Brazil. The list goes on and on, man. But yeah. If y'all want to see what I'm talking about, I will drop it in the chat and we're gonna see what we're gonna talk about. But yeah, he's right about anarchism because basically what you see right here is so many words. Um I was talking about that. Like that was a 2 week stream, Hannibal. That was 2 weeks ago. I talked about that 2 weeks ago. And if you watch that stream, I broke down so many points and add some links to what last year was about. So the reason I did it felt like it was needed, and I'm glad I did this stream because this is my part. So when I was talking about conservatism, I was talking about it in its lightest form. So in many words, like you get the gist of what I'm talking about. So yeah, 9 out of 10, you just know I'm gonna drop these topics a lot. So we'll see what's what. And we talk about anarchism, and then I play the clip, and you know what I'm talking about. So he has some good inputs and some information y'all read. You see the video, and that was part one. Part two, I was just explaining the actual parts of it, and then go in depth. But yeah, anarchism there is no monopoly. There's no things around it. So in so many words, I feel like it's needed. It need to be discussed. I mean, yesterday we talked about conservatism in its proper form, and that's it. So, yeah, but if y'all read this information right here, I dropped about the map in the world countries. That's what I was reading from. So they really updated the thing. So to 2022, it's an ethical problem, and it's still going to maintain that. So, like I said, that's the ideology that people are going to come through, and that's just how it's going to be in so many words. So yeah, you have that type of force in there, and then you basically gonna have that type in society. So yeah, you know what time it is. So it's an hour, 41 minutes and 26 seconds. So we got time and expound on what I was talking about. So the link I dropped you, and I'm gonna share the screen real quick, just a little peek, and you know what I'm talking about. So what you have on this map, I just read to y'all, and it's all the countries that's anarchist. So they got 16. I mean, this is a Greenland, I believe, right? 56,973. That's a lot. Canada is 38 million 388,419, right? And here's America, 334,605,289. That's a lot of us that's on that tip. So you already know Russia is in the millions, and then you got China, and Japan is less. It's in the millions, but it's a little less. But yeah, like I said, but I'll knock this off as well. But like I said before, I say it again, you have things in order in place. So you know what time it is, and you just keep it at that. And that's just what it is. So yeah, this stream, it's not as bad as people think. So we can see in so many words. I felt like doing a part two of this, and I think this is it's going to be light on the toes and everything. So we'll see right through this, and like I said, and you know, oh dang, froze up. Dang, froze up like that. Oh man. Yeah, that froze up like that. Man, I was gonna look at my phone and dang freezed up. It's crazy. Yeah, I was gonna look at for something, but you know how it is when you're on the internet, things like that. It just starts freezing up and then locking up. But like I said, but the slacker generation, he was right. That was supposed to be the original Gen Xers, the boomers, which they were, but not the Gen Xers that they say the unknowns, like what you would say born in the 60s. But the actual Generation X belongs to the boomers. They're supposed to be original Gen Xers, and that's what he was trying to say in so many words. In so many words, I think that is appropriate and it makes sense. The thing, what he was trying to expound on, we talked about this a lot, various topics and things like that, but I was nodding off in those nights. I was drained as fuck. But when you get to these topics, people don't want to listen and things like that. But I always get it from the playback. So, but I listen to what we say. and we played it back, and people came out and participated. So it is what it is. So when you're dealing with this type of content, you're gonna go into some stares of people. So I feel like this is a discussion. I don't know if I'm gonna do a whole just a run. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this is one of the things that you got to look at, and I'm just like, all right, it is what it is over here. But yeah, my phone froze up, so y'all please forgive me when it froze up like that. So when it freezes up, y'all gotta forgive me. I have to reset everything in my settings and things like that. So I was trying to get some info on some things, but yeah, I gave you some articles and all that stuff. So we're gonna go in depth on that. So I had to reset the motherfucker and see what's on YouTube and all that. Cause I know people's, one person that's in here that's good. Oh man. Yeah, my thing is all messed up. Yeah, my internet's being janky right now, so y'all please forgive me because it gets like that every now and then. When I do these streams, these hard pounding, I always want to get janky around this time. Damn, sorry ass Xfinity, but that's just me. I mean, I'm not tripping so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, what I mean, like it is what it is. Just being capable, you know. Yeah, because this thing can just be long and drawn out. But god damn, I hate the jankiness of it. You know, damn. I mean, hit the fucking studio, but yeah, it gets janky every now and then. When it gets super janky, but and I understand people are busy on Wednesday night because Wednesday's one of those nights you just got to expound and whatever. So my phone can get kind of janky. I ain't gonna upgrade it to next year. It's gonna be hell with this shit right here. I know people are through talking and things like that. So, in so many words, like I said, on this topic, I'm gonna drain it out to 2 hours and things like that. So I'm gonna end it because this is gonna be short. This ain't gonna be a long stream, so don't expect me to be on it that much. But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But and that's just how you got to look at it. In so many words, I feel like this is a common trend I see, and you just got to look at it for what it is. So yeah, this ain't gonna be a long one because I'm gonna drain the clock out for 2 hours. I'm just gonna start talking about it and things like that. And so just I got time, so this ain't gonna be no 3 hours. This is gonna be late, at least 2 hours, and he's gonna cut it short, whatever. So we'll see. What's going on, lady love? Salute. And I'm just saying, like, I just get into that mode. And this is my final piece of it because it's no need to discuss about anarchism. And we just talked about it in various streams and broke down. So this is going to be one of those things that I'm going to talk about least. It's one of my favorite topics too, but I wish there was more information and just stick with it and just expound on it. You know what I mean? But totalitarianism, I already talked about it 2 parts. Egalitarianism, might have to do a part 2 and read. That's another one I will do a part 2. But after that, I'm done with that one as well. But I will do it next week because I'm gonna read some of the information I kind of misread and things like that. I'll bring the links out because I know the captain may be busy that Wednesday because I don't know if he's gonna stream religiously and things like that. And then we're gonna just start talking. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole nother week. This week is crazy because I know this week Thursday is gonna come up because I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow as well. Same time as normal. And it is what it is. So we're gonna maintain that. You know what I mean? So in so many words, but and I'm just gonna just stick with it. But yeah, I'm just like out here and do our thing. So it's going to be epic for next week. So next week I got time, y'all. I got time. So I'm just gonna say, see how this goes, and you're gonna see what you're gonna get. You know, the next Monday I will do. This coming up Monday, next Monday will be embracing independent thinking. Yesterday was Tuesday when I did the conservatism stream. Thank God I did it. I came on Tuesday. Monday I wasn't gonna come on the stream because it was different. It was on the 31st, right? So Tuesday was on the first. So today's the second. So I did right, but I will come back with a blast on the 6th. So yeah, I'm gonna be off Friday, and y'all ain't gonna see much. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We expound on things that we talked about, and it's important. So when you have these things and these discussions, you break down what's what. So yes, egalitarianism is another one I will break down. So that's on a Wednesday, and then we'll do a Thursday thrills 18. That's gonna be one of the things to look out for. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it embracing independent thinker this week, because I'm gonna focus on the streams I got in front of me, so I'm not gonna add anything. I'm gonna start doing that from now on. But what I can tell about anarchists, it is not a monopoly of left and right. Like I said, according to this stream, the way y'all enjoy it, in so many words, it's expounding. You know what I'm saying? Because when you expound on things, it just becomes a lighter head. You know what I'm saying? But you know, on a lighter note, since we try to run the clock out, I mean, what is y'all thoughts on anarchism? I mean, what Cerulean said. It's some good points he laid out, and it's just valuable what he's saying. And I'm not saying what his points are wrong or anything. I mean, he break down very simple shit. You gotta look at it from that view. Some people look at it from other angles. I was looking at it from the view myself. It's an interesting perspective. I don't hate it, but I like the insight. I like certain ideas, even if we agree or disagree. But we respect each other. And I listened to his point, and I was looking at it basically a small fragment. It's simple. It's really simple. Some of it's simple, to learn, and you just get into it and be like that. And I read a lot of articles and things like that. And I was speaking. I did some research on anarchism. On to give y'all a sidebar before doing this stream. Before doing this in the hours, I feel like I had a better chance of doing the research that I did, and I had those few links for a reason. The reason I didn't want to read that long, everybody else, is self-explanatory. It's no need to go into the Bolsheviks. I think I talked about it enough. I mean, that's a piece that I have a link. I could have read that and became my whole content, right? But I had other links to back it up. It's no need to expound on things you already got. So what I've learned from this stream, it is what it is, because some people are going to look at it and look at the replay what I was playing, and I was going to play the video of Cerulean explaining about anarchism. So I felt like it was needed to discuss, and I said, this is what it is. So when you have these things like that, you understand what time it is. So basically, I'm not over here just tripping. You just doing your thing, and then you expound on the information. So the information is just like, you hear now, right? So I'm not surprised when people take a fault to this type of topic, because a lot of these topics can be a little boring to some people. But for me, I'm just taking a risk and just taking it. So you could say a lot of things about it and things like that. And it's just like, we're here now. You know what I'm saying? We're here, and we actually hear what we've done. So again, this is one of those topics you can just dive into. You know what I'm saying? Because most people don't really care for it. So I'm not gonna give up on no stream or anything. I'm just going to expound on it, and people don't care. and it just equals out. Yeah, the captain and me, we equal out the views and things like that, so we can come around and start talking. So, like I said, it's one of those things you just gotta look for and look forward to. And I like talking about this topic because I felt like it was needed, and I'm glad I added it in my arsenal. And I felt like I'll talk about egalitarianism next Wednesday. It's a heads up. It's part two, same time, same everything. If anybody wants to come up and disagree with me, that's fine. I'll drop it, whatever, and read one of the reads and just. But if Cerulean wants to come through, I'll throw it to him, fetch it to him, like I did the last time. So it is what it is. So but if he ain't gonna come through, I can shut it down the next hour because you know what I'm saying. But I'm just saying if he's gonna come through, that's why I'm stalling. You know what I'm saying, and talk to y'all about the topic and things like that. The younger generation, man, they have that mindset. In the protests, I read you about Trump. To me, I look at that as it's going to be an ongoing problem. It's going to continue and remain the things because what I'm seeing from 2022's election in the government election race in Georgia, that's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big deal for everybody. So, things will change. You'll see some changes going on and move forward. So, yeah, might get some snow, all that whistling noise and the wind I hear in the background, my own background. So, like I said, man, you just get your stuff up and you'd be like, okay, it is what it is. So I'm not saying that anybody can just come through. You can have that attention. So I feel like, what's the point? And that's just what it is. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Mm. It's 10:07 right now, Eastern time. So, it's still a little early, but let me take this off the charger and get it out of there. External cord and all that. So, I'm sky watching some streams. So, I feel like this is one of those things that, you look forward to. And it is what it is. Some people just look at it and just be like, that's what it's about. So use the same mic like I had last night. I'm gonna use this one tomorrow. Might have to upgrade, but buy this one that's on sale. I'm gonna use it for Sunday streams. It may sound different this coming up Sunday. Y'all just be prepared if I get the mic or not. If not, I'll use the handheld like I normally do because that blocked out a lot of noise. I could have used the handheld tonight. You know what I'm saying? Switched up on you. And y'all would have not known about certain things, but you know what I'm saying? But information is information. You do what you have to do and just, survive all of it. I can do a whole stream with a handheld. This right here with the arm is nothing new, man. Like that's one of the things you can do, and it's stationary. You just talk, do your thing, and do your little broadcast. Some people call it a podcast. A podcast is basically like radio, like your settings and your setups, and basically what you have is levels and things like that. So full equipment and things like that. Hour to 4 hours is a good podcast. That's a required standard, really. Not no marathons. That's not a podcast. People think that, but it's not. That's a marathon stream or radio. They think that's a podcast, but it's not. That's overboard. That's why you don't do 11 and 12-hour podcasts. Those are not podcasts. Those are marathon podcasts. They don't do nothing but damage the flow of your ever flowing learning. like I said, he may be asleep or whatever, but yeah, I'm just gonna look at it for what it is. But yeah, we're almost in the 2 hour mark. So appreciate that everybody came through. I'm gonna look in who's in the chat and things like that because I know, yeah, it's 2 hours. Okay. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Kylie Jane, Psycho, who else came through? Jay Shine, salute. Jessica Shar Willie, appreciate you for coming through. Juan G's himself, my fellow villain sphere brethren. Vonda H, appreciate you. Degenerate, appreciate you. Fellow villain sphere himself. Nadia, appreciate you for coming through. Y'all check out her channel. She's got great products. And shouts out to Lady Love. She's got a good channel. Appreciate her for stopping by. And last but not least, Hannibal. Appreciate you for coming through, brother. Yes, we always have insightful things. So with that, I'm going to end this. I'm going to say, all hail, Great Skull. And I'm out.